Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner talking home run. Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner like ooh.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a second episode of the day. It is Monday, October 20th, 2025, and this is the Monday Report. I'm your host, H. James K., and today, this is the 50th episode of my podcast. 50 episodes. Boy, I really didn't think I'd reach 50 so fast, but from the way my current pace is going, I'm probably going to reach 65 or 70 before the year is out. I think probably more like 63. But either way, this is episode 50, and I wish my 50th episode was about a happier topic. But Billy Napier, the head coach of the Florida Gators, was fired on Sunday. He was there for 4 years, and he finished his tenure with a 22-23 record. The Gators defeated Mississippi State 23-21 on Saturday, but that victory wasn't enough to save Napier's job. So this did not come as a surprise to anyone, really. So on Thursday, there were some rumblings about discussions at Florida, and then on Friday, the rumblings became, it looks like there's really serious discussions on getting rid of Billy Napier. And by Saturday, the assumption was, no matter what happens on Saturday, he's going to get fired. And when I woke up, I'm recording this at 8:15 on Sunday evening, but when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, I guess they didn't fire him. And I went about my day, and then in the middle of the day, sure enough, they fired him. So Napier was fired. And that's sad because by all accounts, he was a nice guy. A lot of these coaches are really nice guys. There are very few a-holes in the coaching circuit these days, I guess. But he was a perfect example, much like a lot of other coaches, of the Peter principle. Of if you elevate someone up enough, eventually you will elevate them to the point of mediocrity. Meaning, eventually you will elevate someone to the point where they are no longer up to the job. Billy Napier is an excellent Group of 5 level college football head coach. What he was able to do at Louisiana Monroe was great. He's perfect for the G5 level. But going from Louisiana Monroe to Florida was a bit of a big jump. And he recruited well, but he was never up to it. And it's one of those where you kind of saw this coming the first game of his tenure ended. And you're like, oh, this guy isn't going to work out. The signs have always been there. The sloppy play, the lack of offensive execution, the baffling, mystifying losses to inferior teams, coupled with the occasionally beating the excellent team. I heard this on Matt Be Great on YouTube when he said that Billy Napier had his annual "You Can't Fire Me" game. Every year where Florida would just absolutely shellac a team that's better than them, reminding everyone, hey, see all this potential, you can't fire me. But at some point you have to see through the bullshit. Billy Napier wasn't up to it. And he had a $21 million buyout. And I guess Florida was willing to pay that. They just were. And if they were going to fire him, they should have fired him back in January or December when the season ended. That's when they should have done it. And if they weren't going to fire him, they should have forced him to relinquish offensive play calling so he could be a better head coach. But they didn't. And he retained play calling, and he was a substandard play caller. And it never worked. Like, DJ Lagway, great football recruit, 5-star quarterback recruit, great potential. He's okay at Florida. They haven't really developed him. This is the second year of the DJ Lagway experience, and he's just eh. And that comes down to coaching. They recruit too well. They recruit better than Michigan But at least Michigan knows how to develop a player, develop a quarterback. Lagway looks the exact same that he did the first time he started a game, which isn't a bad thing. He's a great player. He's a talented guy, but you'd like to see a little growth. But Florida State never grew under Billy Napier. They just didn't. So it's one of those where this was an inevitability. This could have happened last year. It could have happened the year before that. Hell, it could have happened after year one. But instead, it happened now. In the middle of the season, in the middle of what's looking like it's going to be the busiest coaching carousel maybe ever, you're going to have, if my gut is correct, you're going to have Penn State, Florida, Wisconsin, oh boy, maybe Clemson, maybe Ole Miss if Lane decides to leave. I mean, you could have 5 or 6 top-level Power 4 jobs open at the same time. Oh, Florida State, I have a feeling that Mike Norvell is going to get fired. That hasn't happened yet, but it could. So it's one of these things where, why now? Why now? Why not back in January when it could have made a difference, when you could have hired somebody? But they did it now. And I don't like midseason firings of head coaches. I just don't. It's not fair to the players. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the head coach. Do that in December. Now, as a counterpoint, look at UCLA where they fired Deshaun Foster, and suddenly UCLA is one of the sneakiest Big Ten teams in the country. But I digress. That is the exception and not the rule. No, the rule is things go bad to worse. Look at Penn State. They fired their coach. They lost to Iowa. And you know what? I don't think Penn State's going to win another game this year. And from Florida's perspective, I mean, let's look at their schedule, which, oh yeah, by the way, was the hardest in the country. So let's look at their schedule. While I'm waiting for this to load because my cell service is horrible, the whole Florida situation is one where fans want something out of Florida that Florida hasn't been capable of giving them since Urban Meyer left, which is elite play that redefines what it means to be a college team. Now, admittedly, there are 2 or 3 of those every year, and Florida's not one of them. And to get that kind of result, you need to have that kind of coach. And Jim McElwain wasn't that guy, and neither was Dan Mullen, and neither was Will Muschamp. So if Florida is gonna actually get back there, they need to hire a slam dunk, bona fide, proven winner who can get them there. You ain't gonna be Curt Cignetti. Indiana gave him a 8-year, $11.62 million contract extension that's fully guaranteed. He ain't going anywhere. You ain't going to poach Dan Lanning or Kalen DeBoer. You're not going to get those guys. If they got to get someone who is going to be a slam dunk hire. And this someone has got to be from the Power 4 rankings. No Power 4 ranks. No more G5 coaches. No offense, but guys like Jeff Traylor and Alex Galesh and Jason Eck, they're not the guy you want at Florida because I don't know if they can handle being a Power 4 head coach. It's a whole different beast, especially in the era of revenue sharing and NIL and the transfer portal. It's just, you have to have a different kind of guy. So here is the remainder of Florida's schedule. At home against number 5 Georgia. That is on the 1st of November. So now Florida's on a bye week. This is the perfect time to make this change if you're going to do it. The next game they're playing is Georgia at home on the 1st of November. Then on the 8th of November, they're going to Kentucky. Then the next week, they're going to Ole Miss. Then they welcome Tennessee on the 22nd of November. And then they go play the hapless, spiraling, collapsing Florida State Seminoles. So they are 3-4 now. They win maybe 2 more games. Kentucky and Florida State. You're not beating Tennessee. You're sure as hell not beating Ole Miss or Georgia. And you know what? Maybe Florida State beats you because that team has been up and down as hell lately. They've been losing games, but every time they lose, it's close. So maybe they beat a hapless, leaderless, rudderless Florida team. So there is every possibility they go 4-8 this year. And here's another one that'll blow your mind. Of the last 9 Florida head coaches, 7 of them did not get to coach the final game of that season. Sorry, not 5. 7 of them. So, of their last 9 coaches, only Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer got to coach their final game. Every other one of them. And you're going back way, way, way back. They always get fired midseason. It's what Florida does. So if you're Florida, you're having to tell guys, listen, here's what's going to happen. We expect you to win 8 or 9 games, but preferably 9 or 10 in year 1. By year 2, you need to be contending for the SEC. And by year 3, you need to be winning playoff games. And if not, in year 4, we're going to fire you in the middle of the season. Good luck. Who in their right mind would take that job? You're going to convince Eli Drinkwitz, who's got a great thing going in Mizzou, that, hey, why don't you throw away your career's potential and go to a Florida team that's going to run you out of town in 4 years if you don't win a national championship? You're not getting Sig. You're going to hire James Franklin and go 10-2 and run him out of town in 3 years because he's not good enough, even though he'd probably be a pretty good fit in there? You're going to poach Brian Kelly, who is a good coach but who's having his own struggles at LSU? What you going to do? There's no Kirby. You can't go to Walgreens and get a Kirby Smart. You can't go to Walmart and get a Kurt Signetti. Saban ain't coming back. Urban ain't coming back. What are you going to... This is the worst time to do this because it sends the whole wrong message because this Florida team was bad, but they're not fire your coach in the middle of the season bad. What are they doing? I mean, it makes no sense. This is a team that could have easily won 8 games. Now, I don't think they would now, but you never know. I mean, did you think they were going to blow out Texas 2 weeks ago? I didn't. I thought they'd lose that game, and they won. So, firing Napier now, not only does it send the wrong message to any potential coaches, but it totally derails your team. Are you going to convince DJ Lagway to stay at Florida when his next coach might be some fly-by-night guy from the G5 who doesn't have what it takes? Because I know what Florida fans are going to say. Well, why don't we just go hire Lane Kiffin? He's perfect. He's exactly what we want. And why the hell would he leave? He's got a great thing at Ole Miss. Have a low-stakes, excellent run going at Ole Miss, go to Florida and get fired in 3 years because I'm not winning multiple national championships and Heisman trophies. It makes no sense. So, sorry, Florida fans, but you're screwed. If you were going to do this, you should have done this back in January. Or you have to do this in December when the season's over. You can't do it in October. You can't do it now. Things are not bad enough to justify that. Your team had quality wins this year. There's no way to justify firing your coach in the middle of the season. So I don't like it at all. Now, who are the people that Florida's going to target? So you have the usual suspects. You got Eli Drinkwitz, who's the head coach at Florida. You got Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss head coach. Another good one to think about would probably be Matt Campbell, the head coach at Iowa State. And some other ones. If you want to go not the head coach route, then you maybe go hire the offensive coordinator at Oregon. If you are, for some strange reason, going to go the G5 route, then your only choice is Alex Galesh at, I think, South Florida. Alex Galesh, he's the only choice. He's the only bona fide, proven it program builder at the G5 level. So, yeah, those are your choices. Now, if it was me, you would have to offer me a serious contract with a big buyout for me to want to go to Florida, because I think you're just going to fire me in 3 years. Fire me in 4 years. middle of the season. And yeah, I'm going to make a crap ton of money that way, but, you know, for the sake of my career, I don't want that. So it was a mistake. I don't agree with it at all. And I don't know who they're going to get, because you're competing with probably Florida State. You're definitely competing with Penn State and all of their bazillions of dollars. You might be competing with Clemson if the crazy thing happens. North Carolina, I don't think Bill Belichick's long for this thing. So I think he's gone. So and let's not forget, Oklahoma State's also in the market for a head coach, and you might have UCLA. I mean, I think they should give Tim Skipper that job and hire Jerry Neuheisel permanently. Well, not permanently, but full time. But, I mean, this is going to be the wildest coaching carousel we've seen in college football in some time. This is the worst time to want to have a new coach when you're competing with 1,000 other big names who are just as big as you. So, I don't agree with it. Now, for Billy Napier, he had a $21 million buyout, and he got all of that. Now, that's a lot less than the $41 million or $42 million left on his contract. But either way, he's got a pretty serious payday. If I was him, I would take a year off, go fishing, maybe do some television, and then I would jump back into the coaching ranks in 2027, reinvigorated, having given myself a chance to maybe rehab my image a little bit and get back in the good graces of the college football world. For Florida, much as you'd say with Penn State, boy, you better nail this next one. Because if you don't nail this one, the next guy's going to be way worse. Because you can't fire a middling coach and get worse and expect you're going to get worse. So this guy better be a rock star. They better just nail it and be good. Because you can't do 3 mediocre coaches in a row and expect the program to reach any sort of respectability. You know, at some point a team forgets how to win. You know, Michigan under Jim Harbaugh had to learn how to win. You know, Rich Rodriguez era and Brady Hoke era, Michigan wasn't a team that won. They were a team that would win games, but they didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't achieve things. That's a skill you have to learn. And even under Harbaugh, Michigan didn't know how to win. We'd win 9 or 10 games, and then we'd get spanked by quality opponents. And then in 21, Michigan found an identity, and they learned how to win. And even then, it took them 3 full seasons to learn how to get to the top of the mountain and win a championship. It takes a long time. It took Jim Harbaugh from 2015 to 2023. 8 seasons. I think it's 8. 8 or 9 seasons. Either way. It's been long enough at Florida where they haven't reached those kind of heights that if this next coach isn't a bona fide, sure thing winner, it might be 10 years before they learn how to win again. Because that's how these things go. Once you get lost in the wilderness, it takes about 10 years to get out. If you even get out of the wilderness. Look at Nebraska. They are still wandering around in the dark. And I think Matt Rule's a good coach. So, we'll see. We will see how it goes. Much like with Oklahoma State and Penn State. Right now, it's like, okay, we've done this. Now we get to wait several weeks until we can hire our new head coach. All right, I think I'm going to end it there. For those of you listening on podcasts and on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else that podcasts are available, please leave a review, like if you can, subscribe or follow or whatever you can. I'm not much of a podcast guy, even though I'm making one. For those of you watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get all the notifications. Spread the word so we can help the channel grow. And please leave a comment. Like I said, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. It shows me that y'all are really paying attention, so we can keep this thing going. Because I really love doing this. It's work, but it's a lot of fun. And as I said in the last video, I am considering chopping up my larger college football roundup episodes into shorter segments to make them a little more digestible. Leave a comment and tell me what you think about that if you want me to do that. It'd be a lot of work, and I'm 50-50 on it. That might be a next college football roundup season thing, but we'll see. You know, it is what it is. But either way. My name is H. James K. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time.